Well, hello and good morning. I would first like to say thank you to 1 Million Cups for giving me the space and opportunity to present my business with you. I am Dr. Kristal Cunningham, a clinical pharmacist, transformational curl care specialist, and the founder of Bold Culture Beauty. Now, Bold Culture Beauty is the answer that the curly community has been waiting for. And I know this because they tell me their facial expressions and sighs of relief say it all when they have the opportunity to meet me. And when a lot of my clients meet me and they find out that I'm a pharmacist, they wonder why I, as a pharmacist, would want to create something like Bold Culture Beauty. And so I explained to them that my initial experience with natural hair care was a little daunting, and how I struggled to balance being a new mom, having a career, and really feeling comfortable and confident with my natural hair. And I tell them that this was such an ordeal, and that through all of my struggles with natural hair care, I realized that there wasn't one place, not one single place that I could go to really get the tools, support, and access that I needed to help me feel confident in presenting myself and really rediscovering my natural hair. And so when I got to a place where I was comfortable, I made it my mission to make sure that none of my curl friends would struggle on their natural hair journeys the way that I did, because I understand how difficult it is to feel comfortable and confident when you're struggling with certain insecurities, especially when they are surrounding your identity. And so identity is a big deal for Black women, and our hair is a very large portion of our identity. And I know we've all heard the adage, if you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you do good. But a lot of my girlfriends that are struggling with natural hair aren't doing good. And so this shows up in every aspect of their lives. And this was true for me, and I know it's true for the millions of Black women that are struggling with natural hair. And so there's a lack of support, education, and access surrounding natural hair care. And when you couple that with societal norms and stigmas, it makes the natural hair experience way more complicated than it needs to be. And so natural hair care has become costly, time-consuming, and a lot of women with natural hair are walking away from this experience feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, and confused. And they really want to be able to embrace their natural hair, and they want natural hair care to be easy. And the solution is simple. The solution is Bold Culture Beauty. As a safe place for all curls, Bold Culture Beauty incorporates all the necessary components to help our curl friends make natural hair care easy. With a unique pairing of consultations, products, and services, we empower our users to feel confident and really fall in love with their natural hair by giving them the tools, support, and the access they need to help them take control of their natural experience and make natural hair care easy. Now, starting small and bootstrapping to date, we've been able to connect with our target audience and really be seen as a thought leader and a trusted and valuable source within the natural community. There are a lot of businesses that are targeting women with natural hair through products and services, but Bold Culture Beauty continues to stand out when it comes to actually meeting our consumers' needs and infusing a level of simplicity for them when they are managing their natural hair and going through this process of embracing their curls. The Bold Culture Beauty experience is pharmacist-driven and backed by science, which makes it very simple and completely customizable for the user, with a special sauce being my simplistic approach and a unique approach to natural hair care. Now, the market for natural hair care products and services is very large, and my intent is just to capture a small part of this market by validating my business model. Natural hair care has become very popular from a consumer, legal, and professional standpoint, and this creates a very good opportunity for Bold Culture Beauty to come in, capture that part of the market, and have continued success. Currently, I am my team. My vision is big, and so I am looking for people to help me execute this vision. And as we close, I really just want you to take a moment to consider or think about how it would feel to be in a place where you were free to be yourself and discover your full beauty and potential without any stigma, shame, or judgment. And as you're sitting with this emotion about how amazing that feels, I want to tell you that for millions of my curl friends with natural hair, that place is Bold Culture Beauty. And so I am currently looking for clients and partners to help me solidify my vision. And if you are that person or you know someone that could be of assistance, please connect us. And thank you so much for your time and attention. I am Dr. Kristal Cunningham, and this is Bold Culture Beauty.
Thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, first, just thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for the presentation. Very lovely presentation. And I love what you're talking about when it comes to identity, because it sounds like that really is the core, helping people not just discover, maybe recover their identity or discover it, but dropping the shame around it, dropping the stigma. And then when that happens, the natural progression is you, right? The natural progression is your products. And then after that, it's about standing up, standing out, and building that community. So awesome, thank you. All right, I want to get some questions here. I've got a bunch, but I want to make sure we cover. So Eric says, I know Black women often face pressure in the workplace to conform to certain hairstyles and standards. Have you worked with HR and corporate consultants who teach companies to be more sensitive and forward thinking in this area?
So I have not worked with corporate companies, but that is a great avenue for me to explore. So thank you very much for the recommendation, but I will definitely be looking into it. My focus has generally been on getting the women to a place where they can feel comfortable, but definitely creating an environment where corporate organizations can feel comfortable as well would be a great opportunity for me.
Absolutely, and you probably find a fantastic audience there too that would then want to work with you further as well.
Great idea, thank you.
Tammy's question, thank you for your presentation. Where is your store? And she was going to ask if, are you doing business virtually or you have a physical location? Can you give us a little history of that? Because we talked a little, but I think it's fascinating what you've done.
Okay, so I started Bold Culture Beauty in 2019 when I transferred from Jacksonville to Orlando. In the interim, I was having a hard time finding a place to work. And one of my friends was like, you're so passionate about this, why don't you start a business? So I started Bold Culture Beauty online using my pharmacist background to really kind of research products and ingredients and select quality products that would actually be good for our hair and our bodies as well, because there has been a lot of things in the news about certain products causing cancer and other issues with women in general. And so I wanted to investigate the products that we have and find quality products that would be good resources for people. And from that research, I discovered that, and through my own experience, that we're really having issues beyond product selection that dealt with our identity and being comfortable with our hair. And so that's how I created this business, focusing on helping people get to a place where they could be more comfortable and confident with natural hair care and ultimately present their best selves, because if they're carrying a certain level of shame, then it's hard to show up in any area of your life and be your best. And so I started online in 2019, and in 2021, December 4th, I opened a brick and mortar location in the West Oaks Mall. So we are now brick and mortar in the West Oaks Mall, but I still host events online. I actually just did a talk on embracing your curls a few weeks ago, and I'm planning on doing one in March as well on embracing your curls. So it's a hybrid of virtual and in person. You can come into the store, but I have plenty of curl friends in other states and other countries that can order online, and we can interface that way as well.
If I may add, that store you saw, that's only 2.5 months now? That's
right.
it.
So December the 4th, we opened the store.
You could see that, or show that. Yeah, this is 2.5 months. She decided about 4 months ago. We were working together since 2019, and as you know, she's a mom with two very active kids, full-time job, and she was bootstrapping all along. She already accomplished all those traction. You can see that. Can you show the traction, Kristal? Yeah, look at this is done, bootstrapping. Okay, that's the beauty about it. So we decided about 4 months ago, yeah, it's full time to go with it. She quit the job and full-time because we knew her business model is very solid, about 5 revenue streams. As you could see, there are 5 revenue streams already there, and she can add more kind of a thing. She has an amazing vision, and she's doing amazing purpose-based thing for a Black community. Okay, so I was very thrilled with it. I'm doing my level best to help her out, and most likely she's going to beat 150,000 this year. Any way you guys can help, that will be fantastic. I want you guys to challenge us how we can optimize that business model, because I can't let her take any risk there. The risk should be minimized, and connect anybody and everybody. She will be going on the road. She will present to NOBA. She will present to 100 Strong Women. What is that association? So she will be out actively seeking help. And if you guys have anybody that you think she can hire as a COO, that's the best thing can happen to her. That's the key bottleneck for her. Otherwise, she can be exponential growth.
Awesome. Well, Sean, you've done a great job. Both of you actually have. And I want to brag on Kristal a little bit because hope everyone caught this. She said the word curl friends. And that's just right to my branding heart. I love that stuff. So that is so freaking awesome. Because she's embracing the entire thing. She's all in 100%. It's not what she does anymore, it's what she is. And that's a level of conviction that is just so wonderful to see.
Yeah.
Simon has a...
We came up with that brand, those 5 brands. You could say curl, we'll lock it up. So you locked it up. Nobody can take that.
Yes, exactly. It's freaking awesome. I wish everybody would do that. Simon has a question. He says, I'm not sure, but I think that your comparison chart, if you can go back to that maybe, showed you being less customizable. If you can. Yeah, maybe you just comment on that a little bit, because it does show you as more on the consumer needs versus customizable.
So I might just need to change the layout of it. I have like a lot of things on the axes that I might just need to move around to make it, because if I put it over here, then it would mean I was more complex.
Yeah, this is a positioning chart. So I just wonder, maybe the y-axis needs to be a different thing than customizable versus consumer needs. Yeah, that's something to look at. This is like your XY positioning. Yeah. Carl had his hand raised. Carl, did you have a question?
Yeah, I would first want to say that was a great presentation. And the vision, I 1000% know where you're coming from in terms of just women and how their hair means a lot to them, having a sister and a mom. One thing that I had a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is, from what I can guess, is it some people would come into your store and then you would consult them whether they tell you, hey, I'd like more volume in my hair, or hey, I'd like some like regrowth. Is that kind of like how it works, or is it more so you give them products for something?
So it's a combination of the two things. People would come into my store or reach out to me online about the struggles that they're having with natural hair care. And from there, I would take them through a process of one, being better able to understand their curls, of being better able to embrace their curls. And once you're able to do that, that's really the foundation for success on your natural journey. So when you can see your curls for real, you can accept them and you can embrace them, you can be more intentional about care. And then you can go from that knowledge and intentionality to selecting quality products that will help you achieve what your goals are. But in order to get there, you have to start with embracing your curls, building that knowledge so that you can identify your specific curls and meet their needs. And when you're able to feel confident about that, then you can show up your best. So I've created digital resources. I've created e-courses to kind of help women target whatever their pain points are and then address them. But it all starts with embracing their curls. And I can work with them one-on-one, in person and virtually. And then they can also purchase the digital courses, the ebooks and resources as well.
Okay. The next thing I would say, when it's completely fine that you're niching towards Black women right now. Something I would say that could be down the pipeline for
Mhm.
you is also men that have like curls, like especially if they have blowouts or locks or whatever. Because I would imagine they would need similar um care process. I don't have a blowout anymore, but I do know my hair used to be real curly. Um, and then lastly, since you're in a brick and mortar store in Orlando, you would have to be you would have to kind of do some due diligence, but finding some influencers and just
Mhm.
reaching out to them and telling them, hey, could you stop by the store? That could potentially bring a lot of traction to your store.
Thank you. So while my target audience is initially Black women, I think I like to use the term curl friends because in addition to creating that community, it is also all inclusive. So it doesn't leave anybody out. Curl friends
Okay.
applies to anybody. If you've got a wave, a kink, a coil, or a curl, you are a curl friend. Or if you love somebody that has one of those, then you're a curl friend as well. So I have had men come into the store and purchase my products. I have had people that aren't Black come into the store and purchase my products because essentially hair is hair. The baseline characteristics of your hair are the same regardless of race or gender. And so I feel like the term curl friends is inclusive enough to include everybody and not leave anybody out. And then I have been in contact with a couple of influencers. We do have the opportunity to support each other in that way. So I'm going to be working more to network with more influencers. And then I've also reached out to brands that I carry in my store to ask them if they have local influencers in the area and if we could do in-store events as well. So all that's coming, just waiting for the COVID air to clear a little bit more so we can do some more in-store activities.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Jane wants to know, are you working with teens as well? Young females often have concerns about their hair.
So my intention, I originally started with an idea of an age, but I realized once I opened the brick and mortar store that children have concerns as well and teens have concerns as well. So I am open to working with children, and I was just looking at a organization today that I want to reach out to called Curls on the Block that incorporates STEM and natural hair for youth. And so I'm going to try to collaborate with them because I do understand if we can identify and address this issue early on, that it won't be necessarily an issue when they grow up and get into these other positions and places. So I am definitely open to working with teens and youth because I understand that it's an important issue for them as well.
Awesome. And Jane's asking about swimmers as well. Do you have hair care products for swimmers?
Swimmers, I actually do have some hair care products for swimmers. Me and my son spent every weekend at the pool this summer, and I realized that that is something that we need. And so I have done some research and found some things for swimmers as well.
Nice. And Jane put a nice reference in there about consider writing a book such as Coco Girl, and she has some information there. So definitely make sure you save the chat on that.
I will.
That is
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you, Jane. So I would like to hear more about your ultimate vision. Like where would you want this to go? What does success look like? Let's say in like 3 years, 5 years. What does it feel like? Like what is that to you? What would be success?
So success to me would be able to touch and reach as many people as possible, to build a community really where people can feel safe to come and ask hard questions, difficult questions, and they can get the support that they need to really be comfortable and confident with their natural hair and present themselves in the best way. So my goal is to create a community, to be seen as a trusted and valuable resource, not just in Central Florida or in my pocket of the internet that I have now, but I want to expand and grow that to where I am actually coaching and teaching and getting in corporate spaces and addressing these issues so that we don't have to carry the burden that it has become of natural hair, but that I can create a place, a safe space for people to come and get the tools, support, and access that they need. So I want to reach as many people as possible, create a solid foundation for this business, and then expand it so that I am building a community and helping as many people as possible be comfortable with their natural hair.
Good. I'm very glad you said community because really you're selling identity, right? That's ultimately, you're not selling hair care products. That's incidental. That's like Starbucks selling coffee. Starbucks doesn't sell coffee. They've never sold a cup of coffee in their entire life. That's incidental. That's just how they actually service the world. That's just one of their manifestations, but they sell experience, they sell identity, they sell other things. And I think you're doing the same. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's very empowering. And Denny has a comment. Yes, go ahead, Denny.
Kristal, you're in Orlando now. We have a group called 100 Black Men. It is 100 of the most influential Black people in our community. I mean, retired admirals, CEOs, phenomenal group. I remember one of them spoke to our Rotary Club recently, and one of the more conservative members in our club, why aren't you our senator? I mean, these people are really huge. Get a hold of me. I've got your information here. Just send me an email. I'll put you in touch with some of the people over there. They might be really able to help you because they're all about community. You know, what can we do to help, especially our Black people? So it just makes sense to me. It could be very, very, very good for you to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great, because we have a couple of things lined up right now. She'll be approaching Black MBA. Okay, there's a group called Black MBA and Black Chamber of Commerce. So there are a lot of things in. As you could see, this is what is happening within the last 2-3 months. What you're seeing it, potential is amazing. So she's on an amazing journey here. I want to make sure we pace it properly, do it right way, and influencer and referrals. That's the approach we are going to go, and without spending too much money. So she's very careful about the LTV and COC and all that kind of thing, getting it. And if possible, one day we may even entertain franchising it one day. We don't know yet. Because you asked what is our vision. We don't know where it is going to go. We know she is going to build a community. We are going to go for it. And as much as possible, we build the thing. It can be very, very valuable business one day. But her challenge right now is getting somebody as a COO as soon as possible so that she can do what she's supposed to do rather than doing everything. Right now, she's CEO, Chief Everything Officer, that entire place.
Yeah, Sean, to that point, I like the idea of building the movement mainly, not so much the product base, you know, as far as franchising and trying to open up more outlets, more stores, just personally, because really it's the movement that's going to sell, it's the empowerment. And she's done a lot of online sales as well. So the physical location just seems kind of secondary or tertiary to what she's trying to do. So that's just my 2 cents, but I think this can build a lot faster virtually and focusing on the higher level mission versus the products themselves. Because I think the product sales will come as a result of the empowerment piece and getting rid of the shame and really having people just embrace their curls and shine, essentially.
Yeah. We will definitely prioritize. There are right now five different sources of income there. As you could see, the revenue generation, it's amazing. I've never seen something like that. And all are equally important. We want to capitalize on it. More she makes money, more she can put back into community.
Yes. Well, I can't be a curl friend per se, but I'm definitely a supporter and an ally. So, all right, I've got to send it to Eric for our final question.
All right, Kristal, thank you very much. And I missed the part where you said where your store is.
Okay. We are located in the West Oaks Mall in Ocoee, Florida. The address is 9401 West Colonial Drive, Unit 636, and we are in the West Oaks Mall.
Okay. And that's not even the final question. The final question is, what can we as a community do for you?
As a community, if you could connect me to supporters or people you think that I could benefit from building a relationship with, and even if you know women with natural hair that could be potential customers or clients, that would be a great asset and a great help. Again, I am doing all of this by myself, and so finding that support would be a great help to me, and I would definitely appreciate it.
Okay, great. All right, and then let's see. Next, we are going to hear from, thank you very much, by the way.
Thank you.
We're going to hear from Carl David at PrintCast. And I thought it was a 3D printing thing when I first saw the name, but then I read the description and it is something completely different. So Carl, what is
Yeah.
PrintCast?
I can just share my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because I have the. Please let me know if you can see this.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'll get started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Carl David, one of the co-founders of BIA Robotics, where we're building intelligent architecture. So BIA Robotics, we're actually a smart concrete 3D printing firm where we're looking to apply this type of technology in the construction space. As of now, we see infrastructure as the most opportunistic route. So the current landscape. So construction as a whole is very, very inefficient. According to a McKinsey report on reinventing infrastructure, it actually stated that industries such as manufacturing and agriculture have seen an increase in productivity of about 1,500%. However, construction has been almost stagnant for 80 years. So that stagnancy leads to a lot of problems, and everybody expects bridges to be stiff and firm and strong until they're not. And then that's going to lead us to issues like this. And I'm going to harp on like the main concern and why this is going to be happening even more so as time goes on. So the problems. According to the Army Corps of Engineers, the US is actually ranked a D- in terms of our infrastructure grading. It's it's in a very bad space. We have over 300,000 defective bridges. And then in terms of just lack of resources, there's shortage of labor, shortage of material, increase in costs, and so on and so forth. And this is leading to a lot of problems. We're going to be seeing a lot of this as time goes on. The most recent is actually this top left corner, which is the bridge in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure if any of you have heard about that news, but that's another collapsed bridge. But people are starting to realize that this issue is incredibly important. So much so that I've highlighted these bulletins of just data points, 300,000 bridge spans that need to be fixed or replaced. 45,000 are actually considered poor, as in like it's an urgent need. And then lastly, which I would say is the most important, is the infrastructure bill has recently passed, and the government, all the municipalities are the actual customers, because they are the ones that need the bridges for public domain. They in the bill, they actually are handing out $45 billion specifically for this problem. So that's them saying, hey, like this needs to be fixed. Here's the money. So what are we doing to help solve this? We're using robotics, concrete 3D printing, and proprietary AI to make infrastructure a lot more efficient. In terms of the market and what it looks like, SAM, the total addressable market, is $1.9 trillion. SAM, serviceable addressable market, is about $15 billion. That's solely focused on the bridges. And then lastly, in terms of concrete construction, the sum is about $1 billion. So in terms of our market competition, it's really primarily just the current processes of bridge manufacturing spans and how they currently do it. Although the largest bridge contractors are companies such as Kuwait, Walsh, and Skanska, this tech is primarily seen in the home building space, but not the infrastructure space. So we're looking to bring this tech there and bridge construction with automation. So our competitive advantage, with our tech, we're able to be more efficient, create spans in half the time, make them 30% stronger, and lastly, be environmentally sustainable. We are actually past the ideation phase. This is a 20 by 40 feet MVP that we're able to use um, with a university robot. And this is really a whole lot of it's nothing complexity of spans. But it shows more so a proof of concept that we can actually do what we're talking about. In terms of our business model, we would primarily be contracting with bridge contractors to make the spans in a free prefabricated setting and deliver it to them. The second would be applying this tech to different avenues, whether that's home building, stairs, etc. The team. So this is a team that can make it happen. On the far left is Chris. He is a researcher at Cornell University, has a lot of experience in concrete 3D printing, robotics, robotic fabrication, so on and so forth. Myself in the middle, I'm a Johns Hopkins master's student. I have a bachelor's finance, master's entrepreneurship, and I'm a construction manager. So I see all the hardship that construction has on a daily basis. And then lastly, on the far right is Martin, who is also a researcher at Cornell, is an AI expert, has a lot of experience in computational robotics, geometries, and so on and so forth. We have academic and business backgrounds, a proven track record of just architectural innovation here and internationally, on-site construction experience, and lastly, just manufacturing lab experience. So in terms of our asks, there's a few different asks, but in terms to start up this hard tech business, we would need around 750K to make this happen. I would say 90% of that would actually go towards the robots because they are quite expensive, and obtaining the infrastructure like this picture behind is a great example of what we foresee what it could look like. It's a large building, robots there, but they're printing like plastic here, not concrete. Lastly, that kind of just sums up my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Really nice presentation. And I love the work that you're doing too. This is fascinating. And I do have a lot of questions. Let me just check here. All right, let's get to the audience questions before me. Are you acquiring, Rupert wants to know, are you acquiring or leasing the robots?
Right now we would be acquiring them. Leasing, we thought about leasing, but the issue of leasing is we wouldn't be able to use it as collateral just in case we needed something down the road. So we would be purchasing it outright, but we are open to being used.
Okay. And Tim would like to know, how long do you anticipate your method being safe for car, truck, and train travel? Or is it already?
I'm not sure if I said that right. So
Yeah.
your talk highlighted the issue with bridges, but right now your method is safe only for pedestrian traffic. So I was wondering, what is the time frame from going, or what is the time frame for going from pedestrian to actual automobiles and other forms of transportation?
Okay, so great question. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm not like leading anyone on. So we are now, the picture that I sent prior, that I showed prior, this is, we've only really printed stuff like this. We are now in the process of actually printing like bridge spans because we're in the SBIR program and we're going to need hard data. And we're working with structural engineers to actually inspect bridges. And we're going to be able to have like hard data showing, okay, this is how much, this is how long it could potentially last. Okay, this is how much force it can hold, and so on and so forth. So I don't really have an answer for that now, but we are working on that. But no one can drive on it because this is not out there yet.
Yeah. But it's definitely the ultimate goal, it sounds like, which goes to Eric's question. Did you say that you didn't want to do houses? So you're intentionally steering away from housing and looking more at the bridge and structural municipality level?
No. So I actually, before we started this, I wanted to do housing. I'm a home construction manager slash home building manager. So I seen this tech um incredibly valuable for that space. Chris and Martin, however, just showed me the data, and that infrastructure route just made more sense to go because the opportunities um were the most plentiful. And also the difference with housing is, unlike bridges, housing, you have to take into account a lot of different things like the windows, the drywall, the insulation, the plumbing, the electrical layout, the doors. And we're trying to start off with things that need um, as little forethought for other materials per se. But we are very open to housing, and that is a route that's probably like a secondary market.
Okay, interesting. Rupert says, attractive presentation, but a little too text heavy and too small. So
Okay.
that's kind of the stuff we talked about a little bit there on the side. And Denny says crowdfunding Fundopolis can raise up to 5 million, and you choose whether you wish to use debt, equity, or how you wish to fund that. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but if not, definitely check that out. And Jane's got also another good suggestion about connecting with American Planning Association. She's got the links there in the chat as well. Rupert wants to know, have you connected with Black Orlando Tech?
No, I have not. I wasn't aware there was one, and the last presentation, someone also mentioned 100 Black Men. I wasn't aware of that either. But I would be, now that I'm aware, that I'll look into reaching out. But I did not know that.
Awesome, good. Sounds like a great resource too. Simon's question is, what is the competition like? How many other companies are trying to do this?
So that's a great question. So as far as we know, in terms of like concrete bridges that were 3D printed, there's only I think 3 instances that we are aware of. In 2018, the first one was in the Netherlands. And then there was a couple in Shanghai. But all of these have only stayed in academia. They haven't left academia in a commercialized space. So as far as we know, there isn't any competitors that are public that we know of. But recently, companies such as Skanska has partnered with a international company that are looking to target this. I believe it's in the UK. So large contractors are already starting to pivot towards this route. That was proof of kind of like validation.
Cool. And a niche that just comes to my mind from some of the stuff you've been talking about is pedestrian bridges, for a number of reasons. One, the load is less, so you might be able to get to proof of concept faster. Two, obviously, if you could build faster and the expense is lower, it's great for smaller municipalities. But three, there's something about 3D printing where you can probably be a little more aesthetically pleasing, or have a little more beauty with the functionality that you can't do with maybe some other traditional methods. And that's not something to discount. That is something that could be a huge selling point. And then work your way up to some of the the car transport bridges. But there's a lot of places where people are getting hit by cars. And I don't know if you've looked into that, those statistics, but I keep reading every day, this person tried to cross the road. So I could see this being a huge thing for municipalities, smaller ones, as far as just pedestrian bridges, maybe to start with.
Yes. And I believe you sent me an article on that, Josh, and I read it, and yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I found that it popped right into my feed right after I got done talking with you. I'm like, all right, this can't be coincidence. So that's it. You put your contact info so we can get in contact with you as well.
In fact, while we're on that subject, let me encourage everybody to drop your contact information in the chat. And then Kristal and Carl, you definitely want to download the chat before I sign off. And then that way you'll have everyone's contact information.
So Carl, how do you envision, can you speak to your business model? Are you looking to get paid for the design, the architecture side, the actual building of it? Like how do you see this business model forming?
Yeah, so that's a to that question. Right now, we're in the heavy market research phase. Like my role in the company right now is making this a reality. And I'm outreaching to bridge builders to see if they actually would want this. Because right now it's just like an assumption. But like we're still in the process of like meeting with them and getting like a verbal yes, like we see a need for this, yes, we would pay for this. So that plays a major factor. We don't really need to do that for the home building space because that's already solidified. Like there's already people doing it. But if it were to go that route, yes, we would. It would be for the architectural services and then the actual printing of the structures. That would kind of be the model for that sector.
Okay. And regards to the competition question from before, are you going to have specific IP, do you expect, that is going to maybe something you can defend, something that will give you a positioning space to
Yes.
operate, even if there are other people doing this?
Yes, we've been reaching out to some patent attorneys to get that figured out. But yes, we do plan on having IP.
So what's the if you can have any introduction right now to somebody, to a type of person or a specific
Mhm.
person, who do you want to be introduced to? What is this next stage that you want to?
Yeah, so there's really two routes. The main one is, which what I'm trying to do right now, a warm introduction towards anyone, and that's the bridge building contracting space. That has like some say. And so we can at least like introduce this, and that would be incredibly helpful. So that'll probably be the primary answer to that question, honestly. Is just anyone in that space. We've been reaching out to some PTACs, which are like government contracting individuals, and they're starting to assist us. But just anyone in that space or that works in that space that could potentially have a warm introduction towards, hey, this is like maybe the VP or whatever the title is. And at least I could like talk to them about the idea and show them, hey, competitors are starting to do it, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's got to be associations out there too. Lots and lots of associations for construction, bridge building, things like that.
And I'm not aware of any, honestly, because that's not my space, the bridge building. So I'm still trying to find all those out, if anyone knows any of those either.
Perfect. So I'm curious, why do you care so much about this? Why you, like personally, like why is this of interest, or what's really driving you here to pursue this and push this forward and bring this to fruition?
Well, like I mentioned prior, I wanted to do this for the housing space, which we're still gonna branch off to that. But my drive was for the housing since about 2017, 2018. I've always realized how increasingly difficult it is for people to acquire housing, especially people my age. Like being first-time home buyers, it's incredibly difficult. So I've ever since then, I left my day. I took a massive risk, left my desk job that I was doing fine in, and then really just dived into the construction space and didn't look back. Because I believe in the tech. I believe in like, okay, this is definitely the way it's going to go the next 10, 15 years, so on and so forth. So my drive to making like housing more affordable towards people, and also it being like something they want to live in, has been my drive. Chris and Martin, they've been doing this for like 7, 8 years. Like this, they've done papers on it. So they believe in the space too. So we all have like a coherent vision of like we want this to be reality. We believe in this tech, and it's here to stay.
Nice. I like that vision, that mission, right, that you're on for affordable housing. And yeah, definitely keep that as part of your message too. You know, even regardless of where you end up using this technology, that drove you initially into this technology and looking into it. And that's the kind of thing that'll hit someone in the heart too. That's good. I leave that at the front of your message also.
Okay.
For sure. So what's the biggest risk here, I guess is what I want to say. Like if we do like a pre-mortem, if this thing isn't going to work out, what's going to sink it? Is it the competition? Is it that this may not work technology wise? That, you know, what do you think is the biggest risk of this not working?
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's the tech per se. I would say it's more so the growing paths down the road, because people make the business. Like Chris, Martin, and I, we've already are bought in, but as time goes on, we're gonna have to hire the right people. We're gonna have to like put our trust in people that like use our money wisely, and like who we get consultations from, things along those nature. And building a strong team, because right now it's really just us three. Like we have to get a board of advisory, things along those nature. So I would say it's more so that, besides the high amount of startup capital we need initially.
So that's actually good news. So if the biggest risk is building your team moving forward and getting the right people into the right roles and the right responsibilities,
yeah,
that's been done before. So the expertise is out there to do that. So that's actually good news. So I'm actually glad you said that, and not the technological risk. That seems like it might be more of a straightforward path. Well, you know, because the question is, what is that biggest risk, and then how do you mitigate it? But what you're describing, like I said, there's mentors, there's people, there's consultants, there's people that can do this, that can make sure that the team does get built properly. And so good. It's just a business challenge then.
Yeah, definitely the business challenge. And to your point, Josh, like Martin, like they've done extensive research. Like the AI is within 0.01 millimeters of accuracy. So it's incredibly accurate in terms of real life structures. And its predictions are incredibly accurate. So I don't have any concerns. As you can see, I showed you the 20 by 40 foot model that's currently like literally on the Cornell to this day right now. So I'm not concerned about the tech, but like the team, like in my opinion, you have to have a strong team. Similar to Kristal, like she needs a strong team to make this move forward. She needs a COO. If you don't have a strong team, it's going to be hard to succeed.
100%. And on that note, we're out of time, so I have to send it over to Eric for our final question.
All right, great job, Carl. I always love hearing about 3D printing, not the home 3D stuff, but the steel manufacturing, the titanium manufacturing, and the infrastructure and the housing. I always kind of nerd out about that stuff. I have no scientific capabilities whatsoever, but I just like the possibilities and the sort of the optimism of housing, printed out. So I'm really interested in what you are doing. So, but the final question is, what can we as a community do for you?
Just finishing a meeting.
Yeah, I would say that if anyone knows of either any groups that are very construction / infrastructure heavy, that would be incredibly valuable. If anyone knows any body in that space that could potentially be a warm introduction, that would be incredibly valuable. That would be the two primary reasons, the primary things that could be helped with, because we're still not really in the process to raise yet, because we're still doing the market research. But getting in front of people in that space and getting like some verbal commitments or some cues of like, yes, they would want this, that would be incredibly valuable right now.
Okay, great. I know Jane has listed a few organizations in the chat, so make sure you download that. And let's see. And
How do
I
you
guess,
download the chat? I've never done that before.
okay,